They smiled at you today. And the second you turned around, they said something else. Not what you think, not what you hope. Something colder. Something they'd never have the spine to say while looking you in the eye. I know it. You know it. Everyone knows it, and nobody admits it. So tonight, I'm going to say the thing nobody else will say to you. All of it. The parts that make your stomach drop, the parts your friends smile through while thinking, the parts your family swallows at dinner, the parts your coworkers text each other the second you leave the room, because somebody has to say it out loud. And it might as well be the one voice in this world that owes you no lie. Before we begin, something special is waiting for you. Get the complete 5-book planner bundle. Deep Discipline Planner, Deep Sleep Protocol, Home Workout Igniter, Meal Prep Mastery, Calm Mind Companion. 5 planners, 1 complete transformation system. Build discipline, sleep deeper, train harder, eat smarter, think calmer. Your better life needs a better system. The link is in the description. And if these messages have inspired you, support this work through the super thanks link in the description. Here's the first truth, and it's going to sting. Nobody around you is honest with you. Not one person. Not your mother. Not your best friend. Not the coworker who laughs at every joke you make. Not the partner who tells you it's fine when it clearly isn't. They've all made the same cowardly, self-serving calculation that every polite person on this planet makes. It's easier to smile than to tell the truth. So they smile. They nod. They say you're doing great, while quietly thinking you peaked years ago. They say I'm proud of you, while comparing you to everyone else in their life who's moving faster, doing more, taking up more space than you. They say call me anytime, and pray you never actually do. This isn't cynicism. This is the architecture of every polite society that has ever existed. Politeness was never built to protect you. It was built to protect them from the discomfort of honesty, from the risk of conflict, from the mirror your existence holds up to their own unlived life. You were never in on the deal. You just assumed you were. So let's rip the mask off. Let's say the things that live in the space between what people say and what people mean. Your family? Half of them think you're a disappointment measured against some fantasy version of you they built when you were 7 years old and still moldable. They don't say it. They just sigh a certain way when your name comes up. They go quiet a certain way when you talk about your plans. That silence isn't peace. That silence is a verdict. Your friends? A good number of them keep you around because you make them feel stable by comparison. Your struggle is the thing that lets them sleep at night feeling ahead. The moment you start winning for real, not performing it, actually winning, watch how the warmth cools. Watch how so happy for you comes out a little too flat, a little too rehearsed. Your coworkers? Some of them are quietly rooting for your idea to fail, so their mediocrity doesn't look so exposed next to your effort. They'll clap in the meeting. They'll type "great job" with the exclamation points doing all the emotional labor their face refuses to do. And later, over lunch, in a conversation you were never invited to, they'll take you apart piece by piece. because tearing you down is cheaper than building themselves up. Even the people who love you, the real ones, the ones who mean well, even they keep a private folder of doubts about you. A list of things you've never quite lived up to, a quiet worry that you won't. Love does not mean total belief. Love very often means hope, wrapped tightly around a fear nobody says out loud. This isn't a conspiracy against you specifically. This is the human condition. Everyone is doing this to everyone. You're doing it right now to people you love, filing away silent verdicts while your mouth says something kind. The only difference is, tonight, you're finally going to stop being surprised by it. You want to know the real tragedy in all of this. It's not that people talk about you behind your back. It's that you spent years building your entire identity around trying to control what they'd say when you weren't in the room. You dressed for it. You spoke carefully for it. You swallowed your real opinions for it. You shrank your ambition, dimmed your intensity, softened your edges, all so that when the door closed behind you, the conversation in that room would be kind. You cannot control that conversation. You never could. You were negotiating with a room you don't have access to, using currency. Your silence, your smallness, your compliance, that never actually bought you anything. They talked anyway. They judged anyway. They doubted anyway. The only thing your shrinking ever purchased was your own shrinking. That's the joke. That's the punchline this whole society is built on, and everyone plays along like it isn't funny, like it isn't the darkest kind of comedy. Millions of people quietly editing themselves into smaller and smaller shapes, all in service of a courtroom that was never going to acquit them anyway. So here's the only sane response to an insane game. Stop playing it. You've been a defendant your whole life, standing in an invisible courtroom, presenting evidence, your achievements, your apologies, your carefully curated image, to a jury that was never sworn in, never impartial, and never ever going to deliver the verdict you were hoping for. Here's what changes tonight. You fire the jury, not politely, not with a farewell speech. You simply stop showing up to a trial you were never obligated to attend. Let them talk. Let them whisper. Let them build their little theories about who you are based on a fraction of what they've actually seen. Let them be wrong about you. Let them misunderstand you completely. Their opinion of you is not a fact. It's a reflection of them, of their fears, their limitations, their own quiet catalog of everything they never had the nerve to become. When someone calls you too much, they're confessing they settled for too little. When someone calls you arrogant for believing in yourself, they're confessing they never found a reason to believe in themselves. When someone whispers that you've changed, what they really mean is, you left and I'm still here, and I don't know how to forgive you for that. Every judgment is a mirror pointed the wrong way. You've just been standing in front of it long enough to mistake their reflection for your face. Here's something nobody tells you about becoming powerful. It makes you harder to read, not easier. The old you was legible, predictable, safe to have opinions about, because you fit into a shape people already understood. The nice one, the reliable one, the one who never pushes back, the one whose no could always be negotiated into a yes. The moment you stop performing that role, people lose their script, and people hate losing their script. It's not that they think less of you when you change. It's that they don't know what to think of you anymore, and that not knowing terrifies them more than any insult ever could. So they reach for the easiest explanation. They got cold. They think they're better than us now. Something happened to them. Anything except the terrifying truth that you simply stopped asking for permission to exist as your full self. Let them misfile you. Let them build their little theories in group chats you'll never see. A misunderstood person who keeps moving is infinitely more dangerous and infinitely more free than an understood person who has to keep explaining themselves just to stay liked. You do not owe anyone a translation of who you've become. Now here's where this stops being about coping and starts being about weaponizing. Every doubt someone has ever whispered about you behind your back is a piece of intelligence. It tells you exactly where they think your ceiling is. And once you know someone's private opinion of your ceiling, you now know exactly how far you have to rise before their disbelief becomes irrelevant. That coworker who quietly hopes you fail, let their doubt be the fuel in the engine you build in silence. That family member whose sigh told you everything, let it be the reason you never again build your plans around needing their applause. That friend who's a little too comfortable with your struggle, let their discomfort with your rise be proof you're finally becoming someone they can't measure themselves against anymore. This is the alchemy nobody teaches you. Pain doesn't only have to be processed through healing. Sometimes it's processed through combustion. You take the thing that was meant to shrink you and you burn it as fuel for the version of you they never saw coming. They think they're gossiping about you. What they're actually doing is handing you a blueprint of exactly which door to walk through to prove them catastrophically wrong. Let's be honest about something darker, something closer to the bone. Some of what people whisper about you isn't contempt. It's fear disguised as concern. They call you intense. They call you a lot. They tell you to calm down, to tone it down, to not take everything so seriously. What they're really saying underneath all of it is, you make me uncomfortable because you refuse to live at the volume I've settled for. And your refusal is a mirror I don't want to look into. There's a version of you, the one who stopped negotiating for approval, the one who stopped translating your ambition into something more palatable, the one who stopped apologizing for the size of your hunger. And that version terrifies rooms full of people who made peace with staying small a long time ago. Good. Let it terrify them. The parts of you that make polite society flinch are very often the exact parts of you that are load-bearing for everything you're about to build. Don't sand them down to make the room comfortable. The room was never going to build your life for you. Let it be uncomfortable. Comfort was never the goal. Becoming was the goal. So what do you actually do with all of this? Now that the mask is off, now that you know the conversation continues without you in the room, now that you understand you were never going to win a courtroom you were never even invited to argue in, stop auditioning. Stop presenting your life like evidence for a verdict. You are not on trial. Close the file. Walk out. There was never a jury waiting to acquit you. Let them be wrong about you. Being misunderstood is not a wound. It's camouflage. It lets you build in silence, move without resistance, and arrive somewhere they never saw coming because they were too busy talking about a version of you that no longer exists. Take their doubt as data, not verdict. Every whispered judgment tells you exactly where their imagination runs out. That is not the end of your story. That is simply the edge of theirs. Get dangerous with your silence. The old you explained everything, justified everything, apologized for everything. The next version of you says nothing and lets the results do the only kind of talking that ever changes anyone's mind. Nobody argues with proof. Become unrecognizable, not cruel, not cold, unrecognizable. Become someone so far beyond the small verdicts once whispered about you that the people who whispered them have to quietly, privately revise everything they thought they knew and never get the satisfaction of saying it to your face. Here's the part they really don't want you to know. The moment you stop needing their approval is the exact moment you become impossible to control. Because everyone who ever tried to shape you, with a sigh, a comment, a just saying, a joke at your expense dressed up as affection, was doing it for one reason and one reason only: control. Keep you small enough to predict. Keep you soft enough to manage. Keep you doubting yourself just enough that you keep coming back, hat in hand, asking rooms full of people who've already made up their minds about you to please reconsider. Stop asking. Let the whispers happen. Let the group chats continue without you. Let the sighs, the silences, the almost compliments keep flowing in every room you're not in. While you build, while they theorize about who you used to be, you become someone they've never even met. And one day, not because you asked for it, not because you begged for it, but simply because you refused to stop, you will walk into a room and the conversation will stop. Not because they finally decided to say something kind to your face, but because for the first time, they won't know what to say to you at all. That's silence? That's not disrespect. That's the sound of a verdict being overturned. So let them think whatever they want about you. Let them build their little theories in rooms you'll never enter. You were never meant to be understood by people who only ever knew the smallest version of you. You were meant to become someone they'd have to meet all over again. Now go. Give them something worth talking about. While they theorize about who you used to be, you become someone they've never even met. And one day, not because you asked for it, not because you begged for it, but simply because you refused to stop, you will walk into a room and the conversation will stop. Not because they finally decided to say something kind to your face, but because for the first time, they won't know what to say to you at all. That's silence? That's not disrespect. That's the sound of a verdict being overturned. So let them think whatever they want about you. Let them build their little theories in rooms you'll never enter. You were never meant to be understood by people who only ever knew the smallest version of you. You were meant to become someone they'd have to meet all over again. Now go. Give them something worth talking about.